Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tokyo Highway. This is a 2 to 4 player route building dexterity game where you take the role of rival highway construction companies trying to build the most efficient highway by placing columns, roads, and cars. How do you become the most efficient highway construction company and win the game? By being the first player to place all of their cars on their roads. Now that we know what the winning condition is, let's take a look at the components, setup, and how a turn works in Tokyo Highway. Now let's take a look at the components. You have your cars in 4 different colors. Your columns, you have gray columns and yellow columns. Your roads, tweezers, and 4 different buildings. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a 4-player game, which takes 3 steps. Step 1, distribute game pieces to each player based on the number of players. So in a 4-player game, you're going to distribute 7 cars to each player, 20 gray columns, 2 yellow columns, and 9 roads. Step 2. You are going to choose the first player and place your starting points in turn order. The first player is the person who has taken the highway most recently. Your starting point needs to be 1 road length away from your adjacent players. You will use 1 column and 1 road, and then place 1 car on top of that road. And then finally, step number 3. In reverse turn order, in a 3 to 4 player game, you will place a building. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. The game consists of turns going around until someone places their last car. As soon as a person places their last car, the game is over and that player wins. Each turn consists of 3 steps. Step 1, you are going to build a column. If you're using the gray columns, it must be 1 more or 1 less from the base point or the last column that you built. Step 2, you are going to build a road. You are going to place a road connecting the column that you just built to the base point or your last column. And then finally, step 3, place a car. You are going to place a car if your road crossed over an opponent's road that has no road above it, or under an opponent's road that has no road below it. Now let's take a look at the special rules. For columns, if you choose to use one of your yellow columns, you can make the column any height, and you can go out in 2 directions from that column in later turns. The road special rules. The end of your road must be on the column. Roads can be on top of each other or next to each other on that column. You cannot cross over a column, you cannot touch another road, and you cannot create an enclosure. And then car placement special rules. You get to place a car for being the top road when crossing over, or lowest when crossing under an opponent's road. Multiple car placements can happen. The exit bonus. If you place an exit to your highway, meaning that you go from a column 1 back to the ground, you get a 1 car bonus, meaning you get to place 1 car extra on that road. When placing the exit, you cannot continue from the ending point. So you cannot continue from the ending point of that exit. So make sure that you have a spot you can continue from. And then the penalty. If you knock over opponent's cars, columns, or roads, you must offer the opponent columns equal to the number of pieces knocked over, and then place the knocked over pieces back. If you run out of construction material, then play would continue, and if you have no construction material, on the next turn, you are out of the game. Then turns would continue around until one of the players places their last car. As soon as a player places their last car, the game is over. That player has built the most efficient highway and wins Tokyo Highway.